Well, hello, lovelies, and welcome to Mediumship Monday. My name's Kerry Waring, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing and talking with you about how to identify and what to do when you become so overwhelmed because the spirit world has stepped in just a little bit too early for you. Okay, this video will work with you if you are new to developing your mediumship, or if you're already a working medium and you want to work out what to do with all this overwhelming energy and how it does. We're going to talk through how to identify that that's exactly what's happening, and I'm going to give you the tips on how to help manage it. So for those of you that don't know me or don't know my work, my name is Kerry Waring. I'm a psychic medium soul coach, and clients generally come to me when they're feeling a little bit loss of direction, and I tune in and give them the intuitive soul guidance that helps them receive clarity, helps them to understand what their soul wants for them, and then they can go about life moving forward with more clarity, confidence, and a more peaceful heart. But I'm slightly different to most psychics. I'm not going to give you a fluffy piece of information where you walk away going, okay, now what do I even do with that? My work really involves having a heart-to-heart with your soul and then coaching you through on how to manifest in your life what your soul wants for you. So today I usually come to Mondays with Mediumship Monday, which is all the tips, tools and insights around developing your psychic abilities and your mediumship and abilities to communicate with psychic. I'm a big subscriber of the belief that mediumship is just not for those select few that are born with the talent. My own experience has really shown me that it is an inherent part of the soul, and we give it some nurturing and some attention and some great techniques and some training, then it's there for you too. So that's what I come to you with Mediumship Monday about. And as I said in the beginning, today we're here to talk about that overwhelming sense of feeling when the energy of the spirit world has stepped in way too quickly for you. So hello, Adriana. Thank you for joining me. I want to say thank you to those of you that are online. It's a little bit of a lunch and learn today, isn't it? So just getting on to our topic, and I really need to give you a heads up. I've got a cold, so I am. So if I get a coughing fit or I've got a tickle in the throat or whatever it might be, I'm a little bit worried about that happening throughout our video. So I thought I'd just let you know that I am sort of suffering a cold today. But getting on to our topic, and I know this really came up for me because on Friday, I was scheduled to go out on Friday night and do a family and friends group gathering at what I call my Champagne and Dreams events, where I go into people's homes and for their friends and family, I do a group message of delivering messages for the party of people that are there. And so Friday morning, I woke up with an intense surge of energy associated with that work that was going to be done later that night. And what it meant for me was a whole day of amplified emotion, of agitation, of not being able to focus on what I need to do for the day. And now that really is part and parcel of being a medium, you know. So I really want to talk to you a little bit about, one, how to identify it, what happens, and two, what we can do about it, and what's the purpose behind this occurrence, what's really going on there. So let's, and please, by all means, as I'm talking, if you have a question, if you know, you want to relate your experience, if you have a question about how this shows up for you with your connection to spirit, then don't be shy. Please place a comment and we'll address it as we go throughout the course of the live stream. So what you'll notice, whether especially if you're new to developing your connection to spirit. But even not so, like even, you know, I've got 20 years worth of working with the spirit world, and on Friday I still woke up with a heap of intense energy. So the only difference is that my training allows me to think about where that comes from. So let's talk about it. What you'll notice, what are the things that happen, that occur when the spirit world is stepping into your energy, when they're stepping into you? And this will happen for a variety of reasons. One, it can happen because you have unrecognized mediumship ability. And that was certainly the case with one of the clients there on Friday night. So, and that will happen, and you may not realize that this is what's going on. The other way that it would happen is the fact that you are developing your psychic abilities. You are sitting in a study group. You are learning to open up and communicate. You are developing your connections to the spirit world. And you are may or may not be a working medium already. So these are the circumstances where you'll find this occurring. And then, so what does occur is, firstly, it is really a process of the spirit world coming close and stepping into your aura and stepping in closely. Now, sometimes this will be more than one presence, and it will all be associated with the connections, your training, perhaps the clients that you've got coming up soon. However, you may not necessarily be aware that that's exactly what's happened. You may not yet have the awareness to notice that another being has stepped into your energy. So what will happen for you? It's a highly emotional process. So what will happen for you is basically, one, you'll feel an intense energy. You'll feel an increase in that energy. It'll be like your energy is amplified, and you'll feel like you won't have a great deal of control over it. And you'll feel buzzy and agitated and not being able to settle. It will be, as I mentioned, it is a highly emotional experience. So because the energy, the spirit world, this process, especially if all of this energy is associated with upcoming clients, you'll find that the spirit world emotions, the emotion of your clients, all of that is the stuff that you're starting to feel. So it's an intensely emotional experience, and therefore actually taps into your emotions, and is really sort of like plugging the electricity into those emotions, and your own emotions going boom, you know, so you're sort of like you're feeling all that intensity. So the thing that I would say at this point, that if you are a working medium, then babe, it's your job. This is your job. This is what we're here for. So so know that it's emotional intensity. It's overwhelming. It's definitely overwhelming. It's sort of the kind of thing that sometimes you just can't get a handle on. And perhaps right now, as I said, perhaps you haven't yet developed the skills or the awareness to notice that it's not you, that it's coming from somewhere else. But this is what I'm here to talk to you about. So, but this is what's going on for you. You're just feeling that intensity. You'll probably notice too that if sometimes, and I'm just being intuitively showing this, so this is relevant for some of you, I'm sure, is that as you're feeling this emotion, you're going about your day, whether you're in your house or wherever it might be, that you'll see flashes, shapes or movement out the side of your eyes. Sort of like you sort of get a point of you feeling someone, think there's someone just over there, and when you turn there's no one there, but that's the kind of thing that you see out of your peripheral vision. Now this is not my experience, but I know it happens for lots of people. So, and just the fact that I was just being reminded to share that with you tells me that someone will watch this video that is their experience. And when it is coupled with this emotional intensity and this influx of energy, that's your key indicator to know that it is spirit and that energy is not all you. Okay, so this energy does tend to push your buttons, you know, like when the connection comes in. So when spirit approaches you, brings their emotion, their sense of love, their emotion, and the combination of the emotion from your upcoming client or connection, whoever this may be for, you'll find it generally will push your buttons and your shit generally starts to come to the surface. That's my experience always. That I usually wake up in the morning, in the day, I'm feeling overwhelmed, and everything that I thought I was okay with, you know, usually the shit just comes up and I'm sort of going, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed and I thought I had this under control. You know, so Adriana says she's been having that since Friday, and I know I have to do this. This is what she's here for, and she feels very blessed. That's wonderful, Adriana, and I hope you've been able to manage your connections and all the emotion. So, and we'll get to how to do that further into the video, just as I walk you there, basically, and step you through to what do we do with it. So yeah, so it will push your buttons. So all that stuff that you're worried about, all that stuff that is you, gets amplified for that time with this energy. And it becomes more heavy. And because it does push your buttons, that's when we actually start to think that it's us. We start to then go, it's us, and we stop don't even think about the fact that it could actually be the spirit world if you have mediumship abilities in any form. And this is where, when you are an unrecognized medium, you'll be thinking it's all you. You know, you won't realize that half of the energy and half of the emotion that you're walking around is not you, which is certainly the situation that unfolded for me on Friday night with a young teenager that was at the group session. And this experience for me was reflective of what was going on for her. Just so that I knew, just it was the way Spirit was bringing me the message. So what I would say to you is, at this point, that's where we need to ask the question. We need to get to a point where we are thinking about whether this is us or whether this could actually be spirit. So, and your mediumship connection. So you'll notice also too that when you're experiencing this, when the spirit world has stepped into your energy and you're having this intense connection and this intense energy, and it's happening early, you know, it's happening hours before your client's due. It's happening regularly because you're an untrained medium and haven't recognized that this is what it's about. Your moods will change swiftly. You know, one minute you'll be okay, and the next minute you won't know why you're feeling angry or frustrated or sad. You won't know any of those things, and that's highly common for teens and children, that the moods will switch just like that. So it's just, so that's the intense mood swifts. And the other thing that will occur is often you'll just, on the day, if you've got clients booked during the day or even in the night, you'll wake up with it. I know that that's my experience, is that right from the beginning of the day, I wake up with that energy and I'm left with with the energy for the whole day, especially if my work is in the evening. So I just want to recap a little bit about, this is how you can recognize whether this is happening for you. Okay, so it's an intense influx of energy. It's highly emotional. It's emotionally intense. It will leave you with a feeling of overwhelm. It pushes your buttons. It's heavy. There is a swift change in your mood as you go throughout the day, and you can often wake up with this experience. Now, in the circumstances where it will occur, it is because you are an untrained medium and haven't recognized that you have mediumistic sensitivities and psychic sensitivities. Secondly, you are developing your abilities or are a working medium and you are going to class, or you've got a psychic experience coming up in your schedule, and you've got clients booked in that day and coming up. So this is when it will occur. And it is at this point that we really need to be asking the question. And the simple question for any medium at this point is to say, is this energy mine to own, or does it belong elsewhere? And when you ask that question internally, your soul will know. It's not complicated. You know, there will be a response, an impression. There'll be, it's yours, or a sense of feeling that, no, it's not yours to own. And if that's the case, I want you to recognize it as that. I want you to recognize that it's, whether it's yours, whether it's your emotion to own, or whether it is actually the spirit world coming in and impressing on you and making their connections known. So it is as simple as asking that question and just having some mindfulness about you to ask that question. Now, why do we need to ask that question? What's the purpose behind all of this happening, and what do we do about it? Okay, so just moving into this second part now. So the first part is we've just identified that it's actually happening and what to look for. And now I just want to talk to you a little bit about why it happens and what you can do about it. Now, I guess the whole thing is that as a working medium or a developing medium, it has a purpose. And really, it's about sucking it up, because at the end of the day, you are there to work with those energies and to help and pass the message on. So sometimes what is occurring is that the connection is happening before your client, before your session, before your group session, for specific reasons. And I'll share with you a personal experience of mine where this kind of thing happened quite a few years ago, but was very purposeful that it happened. So this was at a time when I did own the former Australian College of Mediumship, and I operated it, and I used to have monthly platform experiences. And one day I had a young man with me all day, and I could see, he showed me that he had blonde hair, blue eyes, freckles, all of these things. As I took some time to talk with him, I asked him, what did I need to know? Because I knew I was working that day. And he said he was nervous. And I said, why are you nervous? And he said, because I need to come through to my family tonight, and I need to tell them that how I passed was actually suicide. Now, up until that point, that family had had no confirmation of the circumstances or the intention around the circumstances for this young man's passing. So while they knew the circumstances and there had been indications that it was suicide, it wasn't fully known, it wasn't fully confirmed, and it had been, I think it had been about 8 years up until that point. So, so just with the energy as it was, I don't feel, because of his nervousness, because of the specialness of what was about to come through, I'm not sure that he could have got that across as well in the group environment, in front of a room full of strangers, coming through to his family. So the privacy of the connection between him and me just during the day, and also too, it gave me a heads up. It helped me move through that message a little bit more mindful of what was to come for the people sitting in the room, and for the lady whose loved one this was. It allowed me to step through it with more understanding, with more compassion, and more, and not be so flippant, you know, like not just be off as you know, giving it as you get it. It gave me that opportunity to really fully understand what was going on here, you know, and I don't think that that could have been given to me in the moment. So that's just one example. So I really will say to you that in those moments when the energy steps in early, there is always purpose. Sometimes that purpose is to give you the medium confidence. So especially if you are a developing medium, and especially if you are still a newbie, and to me, you know, under 5 years of working practice, of working professionally, is still a newbie to me. So you will find that sometimes they're stepping in to give you confidence, to give you the confidence that you are making the connection. Other times, there is the specific information that needs to come through at this point, not later when your client is present. Because when your client steps in, the whole energy, the whole connection between you and spirit will shift and change. So really, the onus is on us to know. The onus is on us as the medium to know that it's happening sooner for a reason, and to sit down and have a dialogue. Create that opportunity to understand what's going on. Ask, you know, is there an energy or a spirit that wants to step forward and communicate with me today, right now, before I meet with your clients? You know, sit down, get your journal out, you know, have a dialogue with the energies that are around you. You know, purposefully create that understanding, that greater understanding. Give yourself the opportunity. Don't just keep going about your to-do list, because you could be missing the gift. You could be missing the gift that is there, and not just for you, but for your client that's there later. So for me, the fact that this happens is actually part of the job description. So it is a matter of sucking it up, dealing with it, knowing that it's there, that, you know, mediumship is an energy, emotional experience. And when you are opening up and developing as a medium or working as a medium, that's all the stuff that you've accepted. That's all the stuff that you are placing yourself in and need to do the best job that you can do. Hello, Nick. How are you? Thank you for joining us today. So I really do want to say that that's really, you know, think about it from that perspective. So it's not about you going at that point going, oh, you know, I've got to get rid of it, I've got to send it off or anything like that. It's not about sending those energies away and saying come back later. It's not about that. It's actually about you going, okay, you're here, there's a reason why you're here. Let's sit down and try and uncover that. You know, so for the developing mediums and the working mediums out there, let's take some ownership, let's sit down, have a dialogue, and really understand why the connection is happening early. So, so I just want you to think about it from that perspective. And I certainly think that once you actually sit down and have that dialogue, once you actually sit down and do some journaling and some writing and connect into the energies a little more, you'll find that the energies will balance out, and then you'll be able to go about your day, you know, until your client does come, until you have found the opportunity to pass the messages on, you know, so it'll all balance out, and you'll find that they'll probably step back at that point, and you'll be able to go about your day. You'll still feel them there, but they'll step back. You'll be able to function, go about your day, and then they'll just come back in again once your session is happening and your client's there for you. Now, it's slightly different if you are an untrained medium. Okay, it's slightly different. If you are untrained or have unrecognized psychic ability, and this happens for you. Okay, so just bear with me a minute, Marie, and let me answer that question in a minute. just so I can finish the train of thought about unrecognized abilities. So because this is where it will be happening for teenagers, for children, perhaps you're parenting a young medium or a little medium, and this is how it occurs for them. You know, they have the intense energy, the visits, you know, they have all the emotion flying about, and you want to know what to do. Well, two things, I think. Keeping it really, really simple is to, one, let's recognize that's what it is, and I can help you do that. If you want to book a private session with me, that's probably a really good place to start. You book a private session, I can connect into those energies, and I can really identify whether you or one of your children is an unrecognized medium. I can identify that. I can give you real tips on real techniques on what to do and how to deal with it. But if you feel like this is what's going on, then take control and tell those energies to, you know, step back, settle off, you know, tell them to piss off if you need to. Don't be shy to do that. I normally suggest creating a sign and putting on the bedroom door, because you usually find that it's the bedroom where all the activity is occurring. So I usually sort of say, let that young person take control of their domain, create a sign, stick it on the door that says no spirits allowed. You know, a little bit like those door signs where they say no boys allowed or no girls allowed. Have a little bit of fun with it and create one, pretty it up, you know, get out your colored texters, all that sort of thing, and create one that says no spirits allowed. It just allows your young medium to take a little bit of control. Yes, I would suggest that you cleanse, smudge, do that regularly, whether it's the bedroom and the aura of your young medium, and really just having the young medium begin to step into a routine of recognizing when they're feeling a little bit off, that they ask that question. They ask that question, is this my energy to own, or is this other people's energy, or the energy of the spirit world? They will have their answer. They will know, no matter how young they might be, they will know. Then I would suggest acknowledging through the process of journaling, and if they're young, then perhaps it's just a scrapbook and they're just drawing a picture. Or, you know, even if they're older and you like to draw, you know, just acknowledge it that way. Just acknowledge it and let it go. So, and by all means, if you feel like you need further help than that, then this is what my page is here for you to ask those questions and for you to come and ask for some help and guidance more specifically to your situation. So Marie, like just some of what I've said, like what do you do if you're not doing readings and you still have the spirit world encroaching you? So what I would suggest is, one, to recognize that it's the spirit world working with you to continue to open up your abilities and to continue to explore and expand that. And if you are studying and if you are working towards clear and concise mediumship, there's a couple of things that I would do. Make the choice whether you want that still occurring or not, whether you want spirit to still be stepping in, whether it's overwhelming for you, whether it's something you can do without, you know. And if it is, then just turn around, have a conversation with your guides and say, put a boundary in place that says something like, really, I don't want the spirit world approaching. I don't want that unless I have the opportunity to pass the message on. So unless, don't come at me, don't come in here, don't overwhelm me, unless there is a purpose in me being able to pass that message on to someone. Whether it's through you passing a message on to a friend, whether you're being able to pass it on through a Facebook group, or being able to pass it on through your Facebook page, or someone you come in contact with. I'm not talking about randomly going up to strangers and passing a message, because I'm not a fan of that. And I would have that boundary in place with spirit, and I personally do. And I actually do have this boundary in place, and have for a lot of years, that unless I'm not interested in being overwhelmed and tapped on the shoulder all the time, unless there is a purpose to the message, unless there is something that I can do with it. So that would be one, is putting that boundary in place and working with that, with your spirit guides or whatever guidance source you use, and specifically with your mediumship. Two, the other big thing is acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is a real key. So if they're hanging around, if they're working with you, whatever it might be, and if, Marie, if you don't have the opportunity, if you haven't recognized that the message is for someone else, then keep a journal specifically for your work with spirit in this way. Keep a journal and dialogue with the energies that you feel. You know, dialogue with them, have a conversation, ask them, you know, what they look like. Ask them to tell you about themselves, and then ask them, why are they here? You know, why are they here with you? What do they need you to know? What do they need to say? You know, really, once you sort of start working with those boundaries and with that purpose, and once you start building in that kind of, I don't know how to explain it, what words to explain it, but once you start grinding away and really narrowing in those boundaries like that within your own soul and your own energy and your own mediumship, you'll find that unless that they have those answers and work in that way, you'll find all the other stuff, all the other energies that don't comply will just filter away, that they won't be part of your frame. You know, they won't be coming in. So things will be a lot quieter for you. And you will sort of go, oh, okay, like you're so used to having them around. It will be a big shift in that way. But it does start with you taking that sort of responsibility and going, okay, I need to firm up my boundaries in this way, and this is the way to do it. Just having that conversation and really keeping strongly with it. Because what you're doing with those boundaries is you're allowing the flow of spirit. So you're allowing anything purposeful, meaningful, for the highest good to really come through. You're allowing that to unfold, while at the same time going, well, if the energies of spirit and the world, if you don't fit in with that, if you don't fit in with my mojo, then I'm not interested. So I hope that answers your question, Marie, and I hope that that's given you a couple of little tools of what you can do going forward. So so please, by all means, I think I've covered, you know, a real some in depth about that today. Wonderful, excellent. I'm glad to hear that, Marie. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll feel heaps better and much more clearer. And because when we do have that sort of stuff going around, it can affect. And if we don't clear it off, don't get a break from it, it can affect our physical health as well. So so yes, so boundaries, that's a big thing. So so yeah, so what I'll do is I'll say thank you. Goodbye for now. Just know, hi Florence, how are you? Just know, I'm finishing up just now, so I hope you'll be able to watch the video back. So just know that every Monday is dedicated to Mediumship Monday. So if you have a question that you would like to ask about developing mediumship, if you have anything you want to know, if you have a suggestion for an upcoming video, whatever it might be, then don't be shy. let me know. That's what it's here for. And, you know, just more and more of this kind of educational style and talking and sharing with you about mediumship and psychic abilities will be happening. So God bless. I want you to have a great week. Just before I go, had my book sitting here. I need to do the, you know, what is it? The call to action. So they tell you, you know, like the marketing plug for sure. So if you are new to mediumship, if you think you are, you have any mediumship talent, if you think you perhaps may be an unrecognized medium and want to develop your abilities, then this is my first book. It's called A New Kind of Normal, Unlock the Medium Within. It's a teaching how to develop your ability to communicate with spirit. It has my story in there as well, and real exercises. So you'll find it certainly available from my website, but you'll also find it available on Amazon. And I think the Kindle version just goes for something like $3. So, so check it out. It'll give you some of what you, some understanding and what you need to communicate with spirit. And know that I'll be back here on Wednesday with Soul Whispering Wednesday, which is where I do the intuitive readings for you and offer support to you. So God bless, have a great week and take care.